All right, so hello and welcome to another episode of Coffee with SamPaul. I'm here today at the Adelaide Zoo Function Centre for a luncheon celebrating women in business, and I'm very pleased to be joined by Melody Horrill.
Thanks for having the chat.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for taking the time.
Pleasure.
You're a busy woman.
I am actually, but I always have time for my fellow South Australians.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. We'll get into your book in a little bit because I do want to have a bit of a chat quickly about that as well. Mm-hmm. But obviously, you're here today for this Women in Business luncheon as a guest speaker. Mm-hmm. So what's your sort of involvement other than obviously being a speaker?
With this particular event?
Yeah.
Well, it's all about really celebrating women, and the theme today is resilience. And if you've read my book, you know that I can relate to resilience.
Definitely.
And hopefully, we can share each other's stories and learn from each other, and that's what events like this are really all about.
Yeah,
it's having the opportunity to meet other people, men and women, not just women, and share stories about, how we get through day-to-day life and the challenges and how we overcome them. And it's always such a wonderful thing to be invited to events like this, and I'm just really grateful for the opportunity, and I never take it for granted.
Yeah, no, definitely. I can appreciate that. I mean, like any opportunity, I guess, to kind of share, your stories and your life. I mean, I've been reading a dolphin called Jock, and already just amazing, the sort of stuff that you've come up against, even just in the early parts of the book, and you've also had such a colourful life, I guess you could say. I believe you were on the news at one point. You're an author, you're a documentary maker, guest speaker. How did that all come about?
Lots of hats.
Me too.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Look, it's a matter of it's where life has led me to a large extent, and I've allowed my passion to lead me to those places. So I've been really lucky that I've had the opportunity to do those things and learn along the way.
Yeah.
And there's been challenges, believe me, and there have been times when I've thought, what on earth am I doing? How do I do this? And all of that self-doubt creeps in.
Yes.
As it does with everybody.
Definitely.
But it's all been an amazing experience, and I'm just really lucky that I've had the variety that I've had, and now I guess I'm reinventing myself as an author, and I've always loved to write, always loved writing, which is why I think I ended up in journalism, actually, one of the reasons. But the whole writing journey and understanding book publishing and how to write a book has been amazing. And I hope to continue it. So it's just another iteration of my life, really, another chapter.
Yeah, definitely. And this book, I should probably show people just in case I haven't.
There it is.
I wasn't going to come straight into it, but I can't help it. It's sort of you've led me to it. But great book, Dolphin Called Jock. If you're in America, it will be coming out under a different title.
It will be. The Dolphin That Saved Me.
The Dolphin That Saved Me.
Yeah.
What was let's go with that. What was the reason for that? The name change.
It was their choice. I guess they're playing to a different market, different to the Australian market, and they basically marketing the book. It's essentially the same book with only a few tweaks and a few updates in it, but they've changed the cover and they've changed the name, and their prerogative. You know, if they know their market much better than I will ever know it. So with publishers, you've got to trust that they know a lot more about the industry than I do. For me, it's all about the story and sharing the story. So don't always judge a book by its cover, because the entire contents are essentially the same and really what matters.
Yeah, that's right. I remember growing up as a kid and Silverchair were bursting on the market.
I remember Silverchair, I do remember Silverchair.
And I remember they had a film clip for their song Tomorrow, and I think from memories in an abandoned building, and they had some lights flash swinging, and they were just rocking out. And then when America decided to release that single over there, they totally changed it. And a lot of Australians were like, that's really weird. I think they had pig face masks and all this kind of really weird, unusual stuff. But I guess, like you said, those people in that kind of part of the industry, they're supposed to know the market, they know what sells, and ultimately kind of, made that call.
That's right. And you've got to trust that they know their market. And this is a brand new market for me. I mean, I don't know. It's going to the US and it's going to the UK as well.
So good to hear.
And Canada. And you just have to trust the publishers that they know what they're doing, and
Definitely.
they're going to get it out to as many people as possible. And the audio version of the book comes out at the end of September as well.
Excellent.
Both in Australia and overseas, and of course that opens up to another audience as well.
Definitely, as we discussed off camera,
exactly.
like it's definitely a good way. I mean, like, you know, not everyone's got the time to sit down and pick up a book, but
they don't.
We're all in our cars for so long. We're all jogging. We're all doing this and that,
That's
and you know,
right.
an audiobook on the headphones, off you go. So
That's
it's
right.
so good. I am curious. Like, I mean, the book that you've written is, and I'm sorry we're going on the book.
We're
here for the the talk, but. It's just such a great book, and I just wanted to share that with you, with you. But like, it is some very heavy topics. What kind of what was the driving force for you to tell that kind of story? Because it is not an easy thing, and I know we've come from a society that, like, a lot of topics like, you know, domestic violence and you know, suicide and all these kind of mental health have all been kind of quite taboo for a long time. People don't want to talk about it. They don't want to hear about it. But thankfully that's changing.
Yeah.
But what kind of drove you to bring your story to light?
There are a few aspects. I think the thing that, it's a book that I've been wanting to write for a long, long time. But to be honest with you, the thought of writing a book, it's daunting. Yeah, you think, can I do this, and how much work, and how do I know how to write a book? So there was that. So it's been bubbling in me for years, and I've wanted to do it. The thing that really prompted me to finally put pen to paper was a couple of years ago when I heard about the plight of the Port River dolphins and the fact that so many were dying, and the calves were dying. And the dolphins have always been my family for as long as I can remember. So it was like listening to your family being in strife. And I thought at the time, I have to try and do something about this, and all I've got really is still my voice and my story. And maybe my story can have an impact. So I set about writing a story for the Weekend Australian magazine first. And they published that, and I was pretty open for the first time about my background and my relationship with the dolphins, the particular jock. And that story went into print, and I had some fabulous feedback from people, not just about the dolphins, but also people who said, wow, the fact you shared your stories helped me realise that I need to talk about this, and I can talk about it. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to feel vulnerable. And no, I don't really want to sweep this under the rug anymore, so thanks. And that really inspired me, I think, to take the plunge. Sorry for the pun there. No. And actually set about writing the book. So that's what it was. So it's been bubbling away all these years. But I have to say that writing something like that, for me, it was quite difficult, because you're putting your life, your heart and soul, who you are, warts and all, on pages that will remain there forever. And you never know what kind of response that's going to elicit. And I have never thought of myself as a victim.
No.
And I certainly didn't want to come across that way in the book. This book is about hope. It is about moving forward, finding the joy in your life, finding the thing that sparks you, learning along the way, connecting with something real, being authentic, allowing yourself to be vulnerable.
You're preaching to the choir here.
And so that's what the book is about, really.
No, that's great. And I think that victim mentality is not the best kind of vehicle for sharing a story like this, because people, I mean, you go to any kind of like Hollywood movie and people don't like seeing people like fail and lose or be a victim to something, but they love that overcoming that hope in a story. And not to say that we can't tell that victim side of it, but I've always been a big believer with my music that I can talk about these things we're falling down in life. For example, I've got a song called Fall Down, and it's about falling down, but it's about getting back up. And I think it's always important when telling a story like that to share that other side, to remind people that yes, shit's going to happen, but there's always that hope, that that resilience, that the positive at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. And as I said, I will confess I've only just started reading it, but it is a great read so far, and already I'm getting like the feeling of what you've described, like the authenticity, which I think is essential in any kind of artistic endeavour and creative endeavour, to be authentic and be,
I agree.
Honest and open, as hard as it can be to be that way and put yourself out there, because people will relate to it. And like you said, with the people that have reached out with the short story that you wrote, it gives other people that kind of feeling of hope. They don't feel so alone. They don't feel like they're the only ones who've gone through a situation, which quite often is how we do feel when we...
And easy to do. And if you, it goes back to sharing your story, doesn't it? And the power of sharing your story. So for me, it was, it's been wonderful to have the feedback that I've had from people who found the book, inspiring, or they've gotten something out of it personally.
Yeah,
but also it was really important for me to put South Australia's dolphins back on the map, and really explain to people that we are all connected on this planet. We are all connected. Everything is connected. And, we shouldn't really try and disconnect ourselves from that, because it's that connection that really brings us together, whether it's connecting with a dolphin, another human being, a tree.
Exactly.
We're all on this... We're all here together. Exactly. We're all in it together.
Exactly.
So we have to look after each other.
Oh, most definitely. I'm often finding myself now these days taking my shoes off and going out on the grass or on the dirt at home and actually, like I said, connecting with the earth, because, wearing shoes all the time and being inside all the time or doing, that, you do start to feel a very big disconnect, and it's really not, for me anyway, it's certainly not a very healthy way to go. Thank you for reminding me too that this book wasn't just about kind of like, your kind of life sort of struggles and journey, but it was also about your love and care for dolphins. I did read you've started a not-for-profit.
I did. Well, when I finished university, this is going back a few years now. A few years.
Don't be silly. Yeah.
I know, it's a few years. I left my first full-time job out of university to start a not-for-profit because the funding had dried up for dolphin research in Port Adelaide. And, I was really young. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, to be honest. Smoothie. And I basically ran by the seat of my pants and created a dolphin sponsorship program and raised money and raised awareness. And my aim really was to tell people in Adelaide about these amazing dolphins, which are right on the doorstep. And so few places in the world have dolphins so close to a capital city, and how lucky to have them right there. And that's how I ended up in the media, actually, was doing that work with the not-for-profit that I co-formed, and that led to a career in the media and being an environment reporter. So it sort of snowballed into that without me intending it to do so. And coming from the place that I was really terrified about doing interviews and being on camera and being a spokesperson for anything. So it actually taught me how to be brave and to use my voice effectively. And I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, I think when you do find that calling in your life, that passion, and that's what this sort of show tries to capture, is people's passions of what they're about and what they're into. I think when you find that, things just seem to fall into place. I remember back 20 years ago, I'm showing my age now.
Hardly.
Honestly, I'm older than I look, trust me. But I started doing music, and I was very shy, very quiet, didn't like the idea of being in front of people.
I can't believe that.
I honestly, ask anyone that grew up with me, they'll be like, oh yeah, he was a kid at the back of the class being quiet, like never did anything wrong, I'd sit back and watch other people, but never participated. Yeah. And I forced myself, because I really had this passion for music and I wanted to find a way to express. And I got up on stage at an open mic night and did my first song.
Wow.
Roughly 20 years ago now. And now, like, for me, being on stage is like a second home almost. Like,
isn't that wonderful?
So sort of like you find that passion, you find your thing. And
it's about channeling it, isn't it? It's about finding your passion, what it is that drives you and speaks to you and resonates with you, and then channeling your energy into that. Yeah. And focusing on the good and the great about your passion and channeling that energy in. Exactly. And it gives you a purpose and it gives you a perspective and it opens up your world in so many ways, doesn't it?
It definitely does. Yeah. If you're in that creative space, you do need to be used to taking the good with the bad, because it's such a subjective thing, Like I was saying to a friend of mine just earlier, you could write the best song in the world, but it doesn't mean that it will connect with people. It doesn't mean everyone's going to like it,
That's right.
If you're fortunate enough to be Ed Sheeran, for example, then nearly everyone will like your songs, but there's still going to be people that will complain and say, I can't stand it.
Always. You're never going to keep everybody happy.
Exactly.
Actually, Angelique, my friend here, has just brought in a copy of the American copy of the book that's about to be launched in 2 weeks.
Ooh, so I feel very privileged to get to see it.
Well, it's the only copy I have, but I thought we'd take this opportunity to show you. And there's Jane Goodall's blurb on it as well.
Wow, look at that.
So there you go. Hot off the press. Hasn't even been released. Hasn't even been released overseas yet. So
that's great. Oh wow.
It's really special.
I mean, the title definitely makes sense, but I guess for me as a creative, I always find it hard to let go of the title or the the song,
the original.
The original, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but as you were saying to me earlier, the people that do that kind of side of the business for you,
the marketing side.
That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, they know much more than I do.
They
So,
they know more than we do. We're the creative types, and we do that sort of
right.
stuff, and they handle their business, and hopefully it'll come together and. Based on the Australian version, the original. Hopefully we continue to be a big success.
Thank you. Oh well,
It's a bit thinner. Did you chop some out of it?
No, there's a few photos that are not in here that are in that one, and but no, I haven't chopped anything out of it. It's just a few photos that are different. But I'm really proud of this, and possibly, and Jane's endorsement of it was just extraordinary, and the words she wrote still bring a tear to my eye when I read them. So very special, very lucky.
I was actually just telling a lady down there about it before you got here, saying this book is so good. And I showed her the cover and I said, check it out because I said it's a great book.
Oh, that's so sweet. Maybe you should be my unofficial PR guy here in Australia.
I'd be more than happy to push what you do because I'm the kind of person that will speak up if I enjoy something. I'm that person that will compliment someone if they've done something well, because I feel like there's too much negativity. And I remember working for a fruit company for a while back, and the boss called me in one day and she said, can you come in the office for a minute? And I said, oh no, what have I done? And she goes, just close the door. And I went, oh no, I'm in the shit now. Anyway, long story short, she said, I've just got this email from one of our customers. And I'm like, oh my God. She goes, yeah, they were saying how great a job you're doing.
And
she said, in the 15 years I've worked in this business, I've never received a positive email like this in my life. And I was like,
and that stayed with you forever. So there's a lot to be said about being kind to people and to lifting them up.
Exactly, because as they say,
we need to do more of that.
Exactly, and as they say, helping someone else to glow doesn't diminish your glow.
No, it doesn't.
And I think people need to remember that.
I agree.
So I don't talk shit. If I don't like something, I just don't say anything. I'd rather do that than actually, unless someone asks me for constructive criticism, then I'm happy to sort of give some respectful feedback. But otherwise, I only speak up if I actually genuinely kind of think something or something.
Oh, well, that's lovely, and I'm really touched, so thank you.
I'm so honoured that you were able to take time to have a chat. I know we've tried
lovely.
a few times. And,
we got there though.
That's the rock and roll lifestyle.
It is.
Mentioning earlier on, this is the life we lead, and it doesn't always line up, but when it does, we can make it happen, and that's what we've done today. So thanks again, Melody.
Total pleasure, and thanks for watching.
No worries.